he is, Dr. Hugs himself, the one, the only director from Detroit, Michigan. What's happening, sir?
Well, good morning, everybody. And thank you for the opportunity to chat with the team. So I thought what I would do this morning is go through my weekly hit list. And my hit list stands for helpful hints, information, and a testimonial. So here's my helpful hint for the day. One of the things I've learned, and I've been doing this, gosh, God, how long? It's embarrassing, right? 2006?
Well, are you counting the first year when you did nothing?
No, I'm counting.
So
I'm not counting my stupid here.
And here's the thing, because I think this is important. As we get started, again, we talked about Aaron did nothing in September, and then October caught on fire. See, your first year in the business, okay, in the travel industry, was basically as a spectator.
Yep.
Right? As a person, you loved what you saw, you loved everything about it, but circumstances were not ideal for you to engage and really go to work. But then something happened, right? There was something happened in your life. There was a change.
There was a change, yep, right. And Clint mentioned it earlier. There was a mindset change. I needed to find a way to replace an income stream. Back in the day, I don't remember we called it a side hustle, but that seems to be the new word within the COVID world, side hustle. And that's part of my information for today. But let me give you my helpful hint. Here's one of the things I've learned since doing this since 2006. In the beginning, I, and probably many of us, sold Surge memberships. Now my mindset is to help people buy a Surge membership. Subtle difference, but big in a lot of different ways. So my helpful hint today is if you're selling Surge, jump to helping people buy Surge. I think it'll help grow your business. So that's my helpful hint. My information for today comes from a golf date I had yesterday, Dwayne, with a friend of yours, Eric Stammel. Oh. Yep. And so we were playing golf, and I said, "So what's changed for you, Eric, in the COVID world, in the post-COVID world?" Now, Eric's an attorney. His wife's a partner in a consumer protection firm, so they're doing quite well financially. Their kids go to private school, and he goes, "Nick, I am doing some side hustles." Oh, I said, "Side hustle? That used to be a non-good word, right? Just like it used to be not acceptable for us to work from our home. Now it's acceptable. Side hustles are now acceptable. As a matter of fact, this morning, because I'm incredibly curious, I went to Google, the answer to everything, right? And I typed in side hustle. And in 2/3 of a second, there were 1,980,000 hits for side hustle. Wow. Side hustle. 2/3 of a second, over almost 2 million hits. Wow. So I asked Eric what his side hustle is, and he said, "Well, I'm buying apartment buildings. Here's why, blah, 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 blah." And my thought was, wow, that's good if you have capital. That's good if you have a good credit score. That's good if, blah, 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 blah. But many people I know, and probably many people we all know, are not in a position to put up $100,000 or $1 million or something in their side hustle. Many people don't have good credit scores at this point. So I look at us and say, boy, are we incredibly well positioned to pick up those side hustle people, right? People need to find an additional income stream. If you're an older gentleman like maybe Scott or myself, you might look at that and say, I need to find a supplement to Social Security. If you're younger guys like you might be looking at it to say, hey, I need to supplement my kids' college, or I might want to, there's different reasons for it. And, a side hustle like ours is incredible. Another side hustle, and this is maybe a little more of a serious side hustle. Amazon has a side hustle business. So their side hustle business is that any of us could buy an Amazon distribution delivery business. Okay, we could buy one. And the goal of that Amazon distribution delivery business is to deliver all those Amazon packages. And the two skills that would be needed for us to own that Amazon distribution business is the ability to recruit and train delivery drivers. And if we had our own Amazon business, we can deliver all those packages, not personally, but we have to recruit people to drive the Amazon trucks that you've seen in your neighborhoods and train them. So an average Amazon distribution business has 10 to 15 drivers. I'm sure they all show up on time every day because that's just the nature of the business. And your job is to train those people and find them. Sort of like our business. We're in the training and recruiting business, very similar, right? There's two differences with our business and Amazon. The first one is that the Amazon business costs a minimum of $25,000 to start and a good credit score because you're going to be on the line for those 15 trucks. And they limit you to $200,000 a year in income. And let's say you have a good distribution business and you want to get the distribution thing for the next town over, Amazon says no. You can have one and only one. So you can't really expand past that 10 to 15 drivers. You can't really expand past the $200,000 in income, which to many people is a lot of money. I get it. But I look at that and say, gosh, we're sort of in the same business. Recruiting and training people, that's what we do. Unlike theirs, we don't have a limit. I don't think. Scott, do we have a limit? Did you impose a limit on how much money we can make, or?
The only limit is the number of zeros that will fit on a check.
Okay, so there's no limits. Okay.
We can write multiple checks if we need to.
Okay, good. Okay, and then we're not also limited by geography, right? Since I live in Michigan, I could recruit people in other states.
And countries.
And other countries, right? So we're not limited. So I look at that particular side hustle and say, boy, Amazon versus Surge, wow, no contest. $500 versus $25,000, limited income versus non-limited income, doing the same thing, recruiting, training people.
Right.
So that's my information for today. There's almost 2 million side hustles out there to look at. It's 2 million articles. So let me give you a testimony. So helpful hint, information, testimony. So here's one of the things COVID did. So my wife and I are celebrating our 35th year of training last month, October. And our original plan was we were going to Europe for the month on a river cruise.
Right.
And COVID changed that. So my wife said, hey, what are we going to do in lieu of that? I said, what do you want to do? Note to self, Dwayne, that's a really good thing to ask. Whatever.
Well, thanks. Thanks for helping the rookie out. I appreciate it.
Yeah. What would you like to do, honey? She said, we should go somewhere. We need to get away. I said, great. So do you want to fly or do you want to drive? Definitely drive. Okay. Well, that's limits a little bit. And to make a long, not very painful story short, we ended up going to a place called Bay Harbor, the Inn at Bay Harbor, which is a 5-star Marriott resort on Lake Michigan, blah, blah, blah. So there was, the testimony on that was that I was always comparing our prices to others. And I went on my Marriott site, which I have hundreds of thousands of points, and Marriott said, no rooms available.
Wow.
Wow. I went on the Surge site for the time we were going. What would you like to rent? So I went on the Surge site, booked it. So I don't know the technology why Marriott didn't have any, but Surge did. But that is in fact true. That night I went back on the Marriott and said, I wonder what happened. So Marriott had rooms available all of a sudden. Maybe they had a block of rooms that got released or something for the time we wanted to go. And the rooms were $200 more per night than I got on the Surge site.
Wow.
So not only did I get the room, which in our case happened to be a suite, I also saved $200 per night. So more than paid for my annual membership in one stay. And by the way, the place was full.
Wow.
So people are, going back to that point, Scott, people are traveling, people are going places. Now, maybe they're going differently than they used to, right? Our plan was to be in Europe for, 3 weeks to 4 weeks instead of being up North Michigan for 1 week. Our plan was to fly. Our plan was to stay on a river cruise, not go up north, stay at a high-end resort for, a week. So people are traveling. Maybe it's changing a little bit, but that's my personal testimony as to how Surge helped the Pagano family on our most recent vacation plans. So
thanks for sharing that. And I like the idea of that hit list.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. So Nick, I think as we were talking yesterday about your experience on the golf course. I think to me there's just several things about that stand out. One of them is that it doesn't matter the income level. People are concerned about the future because not everything about what they're currently doing is working the same way, and there's no certainty that it will continue on.
Right. I'll give you another case in point, Scott. A very good friend of mine who has the biggest bankruptcy practice law firm in the country, right? It's a technology firm and they do bankruptcies. Well, because of COVID and PPP and government sanctions, at the present time, nobody can declare personal bankruptcy, right? There are no foreclosures right now. There are no personal bankruptcies right now. But at some point in the real near future, there will be.
Right.
Well, my buddy had to go out and borrow money, millions of dollars, to keep his company afloat because the government changed the rules. And again, we were talking about side hustles or secondary income streams or whatever you want to call it. And had he years ago decided to build Surge, he might be in a different place because, in my family, for instance, when, Scott, we were talking about, what happened with me. Well, I had a business that went belly up in 2005, blah, blah, blah. Well, the Surge business paid for 2 kids to go to college.
Wow.
Right? The Surge business pays for my car. The Surge business makes my house payment, right? Where would I be if I didn't decide those years ago to create my side hustle, to create my side business? And it's always been, for me, it's always been a secondary business. It's never been my core. But therein lies, I think, the beauty of the Surge business. You can get to be a director in Surge on a part-time basis. You can have your full-time business, your core business, whatever that is, or your full-time job, and you can have Surge be that little thing that you make money enough to put kids through college, or you make money to make your house payment, or you make money to make your house payment, your car payment, and put kids through college, or make money to da-da-da, right? So what you guys have created here is just, in my opinion, I've not looked at all 1.9 million of those other side hustles, but for my money, this is the best side hustle on the planet.
And Nick, I think the other thing that just brings in to me is that we just can't assume that because someone hasn't lost their job
Mm.
or that someone hasn't had a financial catastrophe, we just can't assume that those people aren't looking.
Right.
So really what I'm hearing in this is because of what's going on right now, there are people of all income brackets from the people who truly are unemployed and desperate and need something, all the way to people who have $1 million incomes in business who right now are saying, you know, I got some stuff. Where can I make some extra money? Where is it out there that I can put something in place? So
Yep.
I think of the real tips that I'm picking up is that's one for me that's a call to action for all of us. You need to kind of go back through that list of people you've even already talked to, the people that you've not talked to, and really think, who do I know that needs to hear this thing? They may be good, they may not be, but I think that just going ahead and reaching out and saying, how, just like you said, how you doing in these COVID times? And
Right.
open up and tell you.
Yep. And I can tell you, given that, you know, I'm at the different end of maybe some people's socioeconomic status, right? At the country club, everybody, if you walked around at the tables and said, what are those guys talking about? What are those folks talking about? Everybody's talking about ways to make more money.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're driving a Maserati or a Mazda. You're trying to figure out ways to make more money, right? And it's not to make more money because, boy, if I don't have a little more money, I can't pay my heat bill this month. Or if I don't have a little bit more money, I'm going to get evicted. Or if I don't have any more money, I'm going to use my Visa to pay my MasterCard. It's not that. It's make more money so that you have more options. It's make more money to give more to charity. It's make more money to help your friends or help your family. Or it's just make more money because that's part of what you're ingrained to do, right? I want to make more money this year than I did last year. How do I do that, right? So there are people that I think are great candidates for us. Scott, you a great point. I've talked to people that now are in a different place than they were 6 months ago or a year ago. A year ago, they said, nah, that's not for me. Now they're sitting there going, boy, I better, let's.
You still doing that thing?
Yeah, I'm still doing that thing. Yeah, I'm still doing that thing. And you might want to think about doing that thing with me now.
Well,
yeah.
That's just great. I love the hit list. Nick, thanks so much for joining us here. We're both kind of guests today, so I don't know how we got to take this thing over, but thanks, guys.
Made our job easy. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and have a wonderful day today for you guys, and we'll be talking soon, right?
You betcha. Thank you, Nick.
Okay, have a good day.
Thanks a lot.